Guys, what's going on? Thanks for checking into the channel. Today, I want to talk to you about the 5 reasons why somebody would actually prefer to get an SBA loan, which is a small business administration loan for commercial financing. So if you're looking for that information, you've come to the right place. With that, let's dive right into it. All right, so why would you actually want to get a SBA loan versus just getting a conventional loan from a bank for your small business? Well, it all really comes down to flexibility. And the first thing that I want to touch on, which is really important, is the amount of down payment that you would be required to put down when you get an SBA loan versus getting a conventional loan. Typically speaking, and in today's environment, you would need somewhere between 25 to 30% down, typically for an owner-user facility, commercial for your business, if you decided to get a loan from an institutional lender, right? Which would be basically any retail level bank. However, if you decided to get an SBA loan, Small Business Administration, you could actually get a loan with as little as 10% down, right? So that's a pretty big difference for somebody who actually makes pretty decent money in their business. However, they don't have a lot of liquidity and they prefer to exchange paying rent for paying a mortgage than having to pay 10% versus having to pay 25 to 30% makes a huge difference. So clearly, going SBA would be a much smarter choice. The second reason is also a really good reason, and it actually has to do with the term of the loan. So as an example, most commercial mortgages are not like residential mortgages where, they're locked up for 30 years. On the contrary, they're locked up for shorter periods of time, like 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. And as you scale up the term, the actual rates go up and it becomes slightly less attractive. However, when you get an SBA loan, typically speaking, the term is a lot longer. So when you're looking at commercial financing, typically, whether it's SBA or conventional, the term is typically amortized over 25 years. However, if you got a conventional loan, it would only be locked for 3, 5, 7, or 10 years. So think about it like an adjustable rate mortgage for your home. Except if you get an SBA loan, it actually is locked in for 25 years and it's amortized over 25 years, which means that the term and the amortization are actually the same. That would actually really benefit you from having to refinance your loan multiple times, because every time you refinance, you actually have to pay the lender and you have to pay for third-party reports, you have to pay for escrow and for title. And so all these fees really add up, right? And it really depends where we are in the market to know, whether it would make sense or not make sense for you to refinance. Now, if you are getting a conventional loan and it's only locked in for 3 years, then you're kind of forced to refinance after those 3 years are up. But you don't have that same obligation with an SBA loan. Now, there's 2 types of SBA loan, which I'm not going to get too much into in this video, where you could actually combine lender financing 50% and 40% from SBA. It would actually be a first and a second. And should you have those, you may need to refinance at some point, all right? But we're not gonna get into that in this video. Now, something else that I wanna talk about is rates. Conventional rates and SBA rates have been, similar. And at times, SBA rates have actually been more competitive. But where we are in the market, and this is just from my personal experience because I actually priced out a file yesterday, the conventional pricing was actually slightly better than the SBA pricing. And that's basically just where we are today. That could change, and depending on where the market is during the time that you're trying to get a quote. I want to move on to point number 4. There's more flexibility when you're getting an SBA loan. Typically speaking, when you're looking at a borrower or a lending scenario in general, there are different factors that make up the lending component, right? And it would be, credit, right? Depending on how good or bad your credit is, liquidity, how much money you have available to put down, right? And then ultimately income, which is cash flow. So those three components tend to be more flexible when you're getting an SBA loan versus conventional lending. Typically speaking, if you're going to get a conventional loan, the lender may require, more liquidity, which is your down payment, better credit, and potentially higher income, which is how the file is sized up based on cash flow. Whereas if you want SBA, there may be the ability to finance the same deal with a lesser down payment, less cash flow, less of a credit. All right, so I want to talk to you guys about the last item, which has to do with counseling and resources. There's a wealth of information available to you online, especially, on SBA online. And they do want to see you succeed, of course. And, SBA works with CDCs, which are nonprofit organizations, basically all around the country. And those organizations are actually in charge of the different communities to make sure that these businesses actually profit and grow and are able to be sustained, right, by offering them these loans. And so these are all very important things. This is why SBA, Small Business Administration, is even around. So I would recommend an SBA loan for the right borrower. There is a component to it that we didn't discuss, which is the guarantee fee. So typically loans about $500,000, they do have 2.75% plus minus guarantee fee. And SBA will only lend up to about $500,000. After that, the loans have to be split in two, to a first and a second, money coming from a local institution and SBA themselves. So there's more information out there. What I would highly recommend is if you're in the market to try to figure out whether you should go SBA or conventional, find somebody who can help you. Somebody like me. I'm happy to answer these questions. If you do have questions, drop them in the comments below. Let me know what they are. I'll be happy to answer them for you. In the meanwhile, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.